The Fantasy Football edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the underdog, pick them in college or NFL, and win up to 20 times your action in one game. Plus, every Sunday, they're giving away $100,000 too. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $500. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SGPN Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Emerson, Beery. Happy to be joined by my co-host, Justin Bruni. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Finished off a great week 4. Excited for week 5. You know, I'm in a lot of leagues, a lot of redraft, a lot of dynasty leagues, and I lost very few this week, so feeling very good. It was an awesome week.
You know, it's been a little bit of a wild year. You know, I had this few teams that just were so stacked on 2022 wide receivers, the Drake Londons, Garrett Wilsons. I just had so many of those guys stacked on one team. Kyle Pitts. Those were guys I had a lot of dynasty, and they all ended up on the same team. So I have like I have 2 0-4 teams that have Garrett Wilson, all these great players that I thought before the season. Not happening so far. So I think a lot of people are experiencing that. Jamie checking in the chat. SGPN for life. Hello, my friend Jamie. We saw you check in right as we were getting ready to start. I was a minute late today. My apologies. Great to have you.
A minute?
20 minutes late, to be specific. I was watching my Chiefs end, and I had to run back home, Jamie. I do apologize.
It was a good game. It was a surprisingly good game.
I was hoping to leave early. I was hoping to leave at the beginning of the fourth quarter. You know, we'd be winning by 30 points. The backup quarterback's coming in. I'm going to head out. We'll get on this podcast, but that was not the case. So thanks for bearing with me, everybody. This is the Waiver Wire show, though, on SGPN. We're going to be talking about the best waiver wire pickups heading into week 5. We do a little Q&A here. And to begin, we're going to be starting off with Patrick Coleman from the SGPN Fantasy Football Discord. And he asks, been struggling at the running back position this season, but I am still 2-2. I've lost Chubb and now Javonte Williams. Jaleel Mclaughlin. Is that it? It's the first time I've ever said this on the podcast before.
Mclaughlin.
Okay. And Samaje Perine are available on waivers. Which player should I prefer with my fab? I have $86 left. I'll kick that over to you first, my friend.
I mean, I think that Samaje Perine is probably the more reliable option. I think that you might have some boom or bust opportunity with Mclaughlin. I mean, he looked great today, but again, he's playing the Bears defense, so you have to keep things in perspective. Same thing goes for Khalil Herbert. Might be a good time to sell him rather than start to lean on him in your fantasy lineups, because in that game, you know, you saw a lot of fantasy points and a lot of production because both team defenses are just bad. They've allowed the most points in the league, bottom 2 teams in the league for total points against. So I don't want to overreact to this week. I would, if both are available, I still probably prioritize Samaje Perine. I don't want to overspend on Jaleel Mclaughlin. But if you're really hurting at running back, like in a situation like this, and you just need a win and you need a week and a start, this is going to be the week. I don't really know the extent of Javonte Williams' injury just yet, but I'm going to guess based off of his injury history, he'll probably miss a little bit of time, even if his injury is, you know, only slight. So I would say to target Perine. Do you have any disagreement based off of what we saw from Mclaughlin?
I think maybe Perine has a little bit of a safer floor. Mclaughlin, I think, has earned, with just the play of Javonte Williams this year and Perine so far, I think he's probably going to be in this rotation now. Javonte Williams, I believe, suffered a hip flexor, and is not projected, he's projected to miss little, if any time at all. So, he might be a little bit limited next week. I think we're headed toward, I think this is, I think this make it even more of a committee, unfortunately. With him playing well, I think all these backs are going to mix in a little bit, kind of like they have so far. Javonte Williams, I still like for the latter half of the season. We're still seeing him come back from that ACL injury. Running backs notoriously start off slow in the first 8 weeks. So in the immediate future, I don't really love anybody. I would probably spend a similar amount on Mclaughlin and Perine. They're both probably worth, I would say, $6 or $7 maybe on a $100 fab budget, $5 roughly, maybe throw an extra buck or two if you really want to win it. Small waiver wire claims here. I really, like I said, I just don't really see anybody really taking over this Denver backfield, see it being more of a committee approach. So not somebody I'm breaking the bank on.
So when you say committee, do you think Dwayne Washington's going to get involved somehow?
I hope not.
I mean, he's got a history with Sean Payton.
That he does. We don't know for certain how that's going to shake out. But like I said, just seeing how Sean Payton's operated before, seeing how these running backs have performed so far, nobody really taking a commanding lead in this backfield so far. Like I said, I see this being a committee, and, Mclaughlin, Washington, probably similar talents. They could be successful in the right situation. So like I said, waiver wire targets, but not waiver wire busters this week. Moving on here to our second question. That is from Steve Williams on Facebook. He asked, I'm looking to drop A.J. Dillon for Curtis Samuel. Is that a good move? Both players have good matchups next week. Samuel gets Chicago and Dillon gets the Raiders. What are your thoughts, Justin?
I mean, it depends on what you need. If you're filling in for a flex, I could see that being okay. I think Curtis Samuel's getting decent amount of volume. He does get to play the Bears this week on Thursday Night Football. That's going to be another good opportunity for offense on both sides. Probably less so for the Bears. The Commanders' defense has been pretty good at times, but across 4 quarters, it's definitely had its issues. You saw them play well at parts of the game against the Eagles. I think, putting that matchup together, you probably favor, like I said, the Commanders a little bit more so. So I would be good with that. Even when Aaron Jones hasn't been there, A.J. Dillon hasn't been playing well. So that's why I'm okay making the move. But again, I also respect the need for just running back utility on your roster. And, a couple of weeks down the road, you may see yourself in a position where you actually need A.J. Dillon and not Curtis Samuel. But if you need it for this week, if you're 1-3, or, you're sitting behind a winning record, or 2-2, something like that, by all means, make the move. What do you think?
Yeah, you touched on it. I think, it's fun. The sexy move is to chase the points this week. However, it's just, Curtis Samuel, he's going to play sporadic. There's going to have some big weeks. You're never going to know when it's going to come, though. Unless he's in the lineup every single week, you're just going to be playing a guessing game. When is it going to come? When is Sam Howell going to be somewhat relevant here? When's he going to have a successful week? And like I said, it might come against Philadelphia, someone we don't expect really. So I just think, if you have Curtis Samuel, you're just going to be frustrated with him because, you're going to play him the next week after a big game. He's going to dud. You're going to put him back on the bench. Then he's going to have a big game again. So that's always a little bit frustrating for me. So despite the fact that he's coming off a big week, I am still holding on A.J. Dillon. I like to hold any number 2 running backs in the NFL. That's just what I like to hold on to him, especially, in some decent offensive situations. A.J. Dillon's absolutely been terrible this year. I don't have any metrics to suggest that he's going to turn this around either, but any starting running back is really, if you have multiple flex positions, almost any starting running back every single week is usually worth putting in the lineup. So I'm holding on to A.J. Dillon there, but, if you're desperate, you need a wide receiver, you're a must-have wide receiver, thin waiver wires, you don't have anybody else. I don't hate dropping A.J. Dillon. I don't think you're going to be losing out, but I just hold on to the running backs just in case. Before, though, we dive into our third question. Oh, Jamie checking in the chat here. I have my notifications on for this one. We appreciate it. Yeah, Jamie missed our last couple live ones. I was just, but where's Jamie at? We put out APBs. I had the police on the phone looking, having a welfare check potentially. So we're glad to have you here, Jamie. We were worried. Don't chase J. Dillon over Curtis. We agree, Jamie. But before we dive into our third question, I'm going to give one more shout out to our friends over at Game Time. It is always stressful buying tickets. I enjoy going to concerts and sporting events myself. And you get on the big tickets websites, there's hidden fees always. It's always a hassle. You never know what seat you never know the quality of the seat you're getting. You're always chasing, the markups are insane. So I love purchasing my tickets on Game Time for that reason. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theaters near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you're going to have. Going through here, I always talk about buying my Kansas City Chiefs tickets on here. And I am headed, I always bring up a different rock show. I'm headed to Tool in Loveland this Tuesday night on Game Time. Tool's my favorite band ever, nice. So I'm going to have a very good time. We're going to be rocking it out. Game Time, these are some of the features that you'll also see on Game Time: flash deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, and images of the seat views. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email either. Snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Yes, very excited for the Tool show coming up. It's a very pricey ticket. Luckily, my uncle was able to buy us all tickets, but I did purchase them on Game Time for him because I love helping out our brothers at SGPN, and Game Time's a great app, so definitely check it out. We'll be diving into the rest of this waiver wire show, though. Here, moving on to our third question. Nate Conley from the SGPN Fantasy Football Discord asked, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is interesting. My waiver wire is pretty thin in what I consider one of my more competitive leagues. Looking to drop Claypool for NWI. I hear that Claypool is on the move, and that interests me to hold on to him. What do you think of the move, and what should I spend on NWI? I'll tell you, the coolest thing about him is that abbreviation that you just came up with, NWI, because that Tennessee Titans passing attack is non-existent. It's horrible. I get it. Like, he had one good week, but my God, are you going to chase those points every single week? You're not going to start him. I mean, Chase Claypool. I mean, it sounds like you're in a deep league already. Chase Claypool is on the waiver wire on your team still. So, $1 free. I wouldn't spend any money on picking him up. Maybe $1 if you really need it. If the waiver wires are actually super thin, there's just nobody ever available. Maybe throw $1 or $2 on him. But no, he's not a priority for me. How about for you, Justin?
He does have touchdowns in back-to-back starts. I'll give him that. But I think because of that, we missed the train. You missed it. I think you hit it on the head. Like, you're just not going to be able to expect this week in and week out. DeAndre Hopkins is going to have to score a touchdown eventually. Chig will score a touchdown eventually. Treylon Burks will get back into the mix. Obviously Derrick Henry has a huge share of the offense. I think, this is really just chasing the previous week's points. I do like the idea of stashing him. I mean, he does have a rapport with Tannehill, and outside of Hopkins and Burks, obviously it's really thin, but like you had said, the passing volume isn't there. So be cheap about it. I think Chase Claypool being on the move is something interesting. I could see him. I don't see him going to necessarily a contender, but I think if he goes to, say, like the Cardinals, I don't know, maybe that would be better for him, at least getting playing time. I'm not sure.
Oh, man, Claypool's one of those guys who's worn his welcome everywhere. I can't think of a format that he, deep dynasty rosters is where Claypool deserves to be rostered. Redraft leagues, you can put that man on the waiver wire because he's toast. He just off the, just on the field concern. If he had that play with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's showboating when they're trying to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage, rattled the coaching staff there, making noise in Chicago as well, getting in the news for the wrong reasons. That's usually Chase Claypool. So I would certainly drop Claypool for NWI, but just not expecting a lot from him either. Jamie, y'all are amazing. I can't keep up with Justin shaving his head on your analysis. Oh man, Hey,
not good for Emerson.
that was he didn't play. I had to go back and look. I think we put a 14 game cap on this.
It was 13. It was 13. Each player has to appear in at least 13 games, otherwise it's off.
Yeah, that put me behind the 8 ball. I think I was ahead of you even going into this week, but
no, I think I was ahead by a slight hair.
Slight hair. Oh man,
yeah.
David Montgomery.
Literally, I looked at it on. I think I looked at it on Underdog, and it was yeah. But I mean, Jamie's in the chat saying points per game. I mean, total points is still the same thing. No, I mean, until we get to the end of the season, it really doesn't matter right now.
I'd have to go look back at the tape, Jamie. I think we agreed on points.
I'm pretty sure it's. I think he's right. I think it's points per game. But right now, I think it really just matters about who's in the lead.
All right,
because we're not going to know the average until the end of the season, anyways. So it's like, you know what I mean?
That's fair. All right, well, I'll have to go like I said. So points per game makes me feel a little bit better that I didn't just take an L this week. So very nice.
But he still has to play in 13 games.
I'm going to look really silly. I'm going to look really, really silly if I have to get my head shaved. And you better hope he does, because if he doesn't play 13 games, the bet's null and void.
I mean, that's not fun, but I also, I don't want to torture you. It's just, it's a small benefit.
Oh God. Yeah. We'll have to donate these to Locks of Love or something. Not that I even have a ton of hair, but man, I've never even been.
I have a good amount right now.
Oh man, this will be really fun. We'll have to do this on the live show somehow or something like that.
Oh no, it will absolutely be done on camera, Emerson. Don't think we ain't doing it for clicks. Oh, we doing it for clicks.
Oh boy, yeah,
Jamie's gonna be in here cheering us on.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show sheet type up. Moving on, we're gonna be checking in with Matthew Brady Thomas from Reddit. Michael Wilson had a day. Big Cards fan, so love to see the kid produce, but is he worthy of my waiver wire priority this week? Will this production continue? He has a nice schedule ahead of him, 12-team PPR.
I mean, I think I like him more than NWI, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I think I like him more just because I know he's going to play more. Even though that offense isn't going to try to throw the ball a lot, they're always playing from behind. So there's always a positive game narrative for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. I mean, does it mention what he has to drop?
No, I don't think it does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. And again, it just depends on the size of your league, how competitive things are, what you'll have to spend on him. But I don't think there's an obvious situation where anyone really needs to be overspent on this week. I mean, is there any one player outside of maybe Mclaughlin or Samaje Perine this week that should just be like, oh, we got to break the bank for that guy? Like, is it Melvin Gordon maybe? I don't know.
It's tough. It just depends on who you do have available because, like, for example, Joshua Kelly, like looking at him, even though he's coming off a few very poor
he's got to be gone.
It could be down to your last few Joshua Kelly weeks, but he's somebody, I'm just looking at the top ads on Sleeper here. If he's, he's still somebody I would spend even $10, 10% of your fab on, maybe a little less, maybe like 7 or 8%, just because I know he's disappointed these last few weeks, but still a running back in a very good offense. Austin Eckler, has a large workload, so capable of missing any week. CJ Stroud, 54% owed according to Sleeper. If you're those other 46%, you gotta run to your waiver wire and pick this man up. If you're a Joe Burrow owner, you need to be starting CJ Stroud next week. In the Houston Texans offense.
1,000%.
Who would have thought? Who had CJ Stroud ahead of Joe Burrow in their fantasy football rankings? I want to know.
Oh, okay, not me. I thought you were talking about just Stroud in general. I was going to say I was Team Stroud over Bryce Young.
Me too. I was Team Stroud. I still thought we'd be looking at a player with maybe a limited fantasy ceiling. I did not expect him to just tear it up out of the gate. So
900 passing yards.
Yeah. So he's a must. If he's somebody I would spend maybe even 20-30% of your fab on.
If he's still available, yeah. In a single QB league, I mean, I would hope you wouldn't have to spend on him. I started him last week and I didn't have to spend on him. I just picked him up for free after waivers cleared. I didn't have to spend any of my fob and I started him and it was great. This week I sat him though. I started him or I benched him in favor of Geno Smith. And now I need Geno Smith to put up exactly the same score that Stroud had to win me my matchup this week. Ouch.
Yeah, that is ouch. That's fantasy football in a nutshell for you. It's,
I mean, to be fair, that's a much better matchup. The Giants versus the Steelers, who just put on a show in week 3. So I mean, I'm not feeling bad about it yet, but maybe, ask me again. Steelers. Yeah, ask me again Monday evening.
Jamie checking in the chat. Traded Jerome Ford in 2 leagues for an early 2024 pick.
Nice.
Still own Ford in 10 leagues, so getting that early second is a win.
Yep, correct.
I'd say so.
Correct. Especially when you have that much exposure.
Yeah, and it just depends. On competitive leagues, I have a hard time letting grow Jerome Ford because you probably need the running back start. So
I do.
You're not thinking about next year yet, but yes, if you're if you don't see yourself as a lock as for competing, getting an early second for Ford is absolutely a steal. We'll get back to Michael Wilson in one moment. Just going to go through some of these real easy ads, in my opinion, that Jamie was talking about. Jameson Williams, 53% owned. He's somebody. I'd see somebody I would spend.
We said this last 10%. Week. We said last week there was a question last week from a listener who has said, "Hey, is now too soon? So now's the time. We're decided."
I would be. Yeah, I'd be picking him up. I would drop 10%.
Man, well, what are we doing? We should have told that person last week to just buy him for 0%. What are we doing here?
Did I say wait a week? I thought did I say wait a week? I
think we both agreed to wait a week, but it just seems like we're just it's counterintuitive. I don't know what we were thinking. I should have just bought him for free last week.
If I know me, I probably caveated myself with saying if you have the room, add Jameson Williams, but you can wait a week. That sounds like what I would have said. But Jameson Williams.
Yeah, we like to think that.
If he is sitting there on your waivers, I know that's what I said. 10% is what I'd be willing to spend. Jake Ferguson, another guy, 7, maybe 8%. Yeah. Romeo Dubs, I would throw I'd be willing to throw 20 or 30%.
What do you think? That Packers receiving group just scares me, though. I mean, Jordan Love is better than advertised. I mean, I gotta die on that hill for sure. A buried atop Jordan Love mountain. Man, I don't want to I really don't want to overinvest in that group because I still think it's going to be volatile from week to week. Dubs has been the best so far, but the healthier that Christian Watson gets, when Aaron Jones is 100%, I just got to imagine he regresses some, he doesn't maintain this level of production. But if there is a guy of that group that I would want to buy the most, whether it's waivers or, maybe like a buy low trade, not have to spend a lot on him. Maybe I've got running back depth and this team that owns Dubs or Dobbs, whatever, has receiver depth and we can make a little swap. I don't mind that. But again, I don't want to overinvest. I don't want to overspend on anyone in that group. Make it rain.
See, I'm a little tired. I woke up at 5 this morning for my brunch shift, and I was a little tired. Now it's all coming back to me full circle because we know that Jameson Williams is coming back this week, but that was the difference. That's why we told you to wait a week. Last week when we did the show, we didn't think Jameson Williams was playing week 5. Now we're on the verge of him playing. So that makes sense why we said we thought he had a few more weeks. Okay, it all makes sense to me now. So yes, with Jameson Williams, now the news, if he is still on waivers, that he is going to play this week. That's how he should be. That okay. It all makes more sense to me.
Most of my leagues, he's been drafted. I don't really have a pulse in the matter.
Waivers in many leagues. That's what I feel like it's the more casual, the smaller leagues. But anybody over 50%, I feel like is not available in smarter leagues. But anyway,
another quick hitting one I want to ask you about was Terrace Marshall Jr. He had 8 targets last week, double-digit targets this week. What are your thoughts on that situation? Has he surpassed DJ Chark for the number 2 guy in this offense as far as receivers go?
DJ Chark just had a big week. I tend.
He had a down week this week.
Well, I mean, he just had a big week the week before, is what I was saying, and so it's tough. I like it. This could be just another situation. It's going to be a little bit sporadic. Let me see if I can pull up the snap percentages for those guys really quick because that is an interesting question.
I looked at Football Guys. They didn't have them up yet, but I'll try to look at PFF as well.
Yeah, check. I'm gonna shout out our last sponsors while you're looking that up really quick. All right.
Good.
All right. Our last people we are shouting out here is Underdog Fantasy, one of our best sponsors. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite football team all season long. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. From now until October 4th, Underdog is matching 100% of first deposits up to $500 as well. $100,000 Sundays continue on Underdog Fantasy 2. Total of $2 million in prizes all season long, $100K in prizes this week, $10K to 10 people this week as well. New sweepstakes every week of the NFL season. I always talk about every single week. It paid off with Patrick Mahomes this Sunday. I'm always taking the under on these big name quarterbacks, these big name, all the most popular names in fantasy football. People love taking the overs. All their fans love taking the overs. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, all those guys. I love taking the under. And I do get pretty well. We're still just betting on fantasy points in Colorado, so hoping for some regular over-unders here shortly. But I do have a very fun time regardless on Underdog. So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up, use the promo code SGPN as well, and Underdog will deposit your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. And of course, if you would still listening, if you wouldn't mind giving a like, subscribe, rating, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, we really, really appreciate it. Jamie is slandering DJ Shark in the chat. Did you end up finding anything about those snap percentages?
No, not for week 4 just yet. I've not been able to pull anything.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it's usually, I'd have to put it up on Twitter or something. But Terrace Marshall, after 1 week, if you have somebody that you're just can be off my roster already, pick up Terrace Marshall. If you just have somebody who's just easily dropped, doesn't have a whole lot of value, pick him up for $1. But it's somebody, if you're certainly wrestling with somebody back and forth, Terrace Marshall probably isn't somebody I'm targeting. But we're going back full circle here, running way, way, way back to the Michael Wilson question. Rizzo, go ahead.
Terrace Marshall led all Panther wideouts in snaps, 69.
That's
69 snaps, 90%, and targets, 15% target share.
Yeah, that's fairly significant actually. Especially DJ Shark not playing as much. Adam Thielen had 8 targets, but Terrace Marshall had 10. That's a little more significant. So I might throw a couple bucks on there. I wouldn't throw more than $5, and that's if you probably had thin waiver wires, but. Terrace Marshall, somebody certainly to keep an eye on. I like that snap percentage quite a bit. Going way, way, way back, though, to the original question that sparked it all. Michael Wilson. I love Michael Wilson. I was talking about him all offseason. He was one of my favorite late-round sleepers in Dynasty rookie drafts. This was a guy who broke out in college as a true freshman that struggled with injuries for 3 years straight following that. I think this guy, if he hadn't had that case, I think, this is one of the best most talented wide receivers in the draft. And he's a completely open target share with Arizona Cardinals. The one thing, the one caveat, the one thing that's looming over this is Kyler Murray returning. You never know how a new quarterback is going to transition to new targets. Like a rookie like that, Kyler Murray has not had a chance to really develop a rapport with him. The target share really could shift way back to Marquise Brown. But for somebody that you spent a 3rd or 4th round rookie pick on, or for a $1 fab bid, absolutely sign me up for Michael Wilson. Once again, it's not somebody. If you had very thin waiver wires, I would spend $5, but that's probably it. Moving on.
I'm okay with it. I think he's in a good situation. Like I said, there's little no competition for touches and targets, so I'm all in.
Perfect. Yes. Like I said, I have Michael Wilson on a lot of dynasty teams, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I got to share.
Next question. Shannon Myers from the SGPN Fantasy Football Discord asks, what should I do with Jayden Reed? I'm going to have Cooper Kupp back soon, and I don't want to drop Jayden Reed, but my team is deep and undefeated. I'd like to hang on to him or sell him if possible. What running backs or tight ends could I target in a swap for him, or should I just drop him when Kupp comes back and not worry about it? 14-team PPR.
Chuba Hubbard. I mean, what I don't know what running back you can get for Jayden Reed. That's a really tough question. Cam Akers. Are those good options? Deuce Vaughn.
I just don't know how this could work out. There's not a market for a rookie unstartable wide receiver in redraft leagues. Yeah, I mean something like that. I mean, maybe that gets done, maybe it doesn't.
Does it say how deep the league is, or like what the league size is?
Teams.
Okay, so that, I mean, I guess that makes it tougher, but still, does it say how many roster spots?
It didn't say how many roster spots.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say like I mean. Again, I'm not interested in this group, to be perfectly honest. I think Dubes is probably in the best situation here, just being close with Jordan Love, having another year with him. Christian Watson, again, was just so much better still with Aaron Rodgers. I know we saw him catch a touchdown, but, far less volume, not going to finish with the stats that people were predicting for him. Certainly not going to live out his, wide receiver 20, 21, 22 preseason ranking or anything like that. It's just not a group that I'm just like, believing is going to have a super high profile come the end of the year. I would be okay dropping him. I think you're overthinking it. That's what I think.
I mean, yeah,
you should be super grateful Cooper Kupp's coming back soon. That's what I think.
I like Jayden Reed. He wouldn't, if I'm dropping players, I'd consider, if you have somebody else you're thinking about, definitely double check. But yeah, I'm not afraid to drop him either. This is a guy who's clearly behind Romeo Doubs, and Christian Watson still nursing back to health, clearly not 100%, which may not happen for the next couple of weeks. So Jayden Reed, though, probably going to have a big week, then going to have a couple slower weeks, big week here. Like another player we've talked about a lot on the show, just you'll never know when to start him. And that's with a lot of these wide receivers.
You can get Hunter Renfrow and Dwayne Washington. They're on the table.
I think I might prefer Jayden Reed in that scenario.
Braxton Berrios.
Oh, boy. Yeah, go ahead and keep Jayden Reed for those questions. But, yeah, Jayden Reed, I really like the talent, though, and I prefer the prospect a lot more than Romeo Doubs. I know he's on a hot streak. He has the rapport with Jordan Love at the moment. But long-term, they're pretty even for me at the moment with him emerging here, and it's easy to come up in those. But, yeah, I'm still trying to hold him in my deeper redraft leagues. Jamie's asking, before we jump in here, Jamie is asking, where's Laviska Shark? On benches, I'm a CU fan. I love Laviska as much as anybody, but definitely just a gadget player. George, play 01 in the chat. Who should I drop for these players? Tyler Algier, Dalvin Cook, Jalen Warren, Kareem Hunt, and JSN. I need to drop 2 to add to that I want.
Dalvin Cook and Kareem Hunt? I'm holding JSN until probably the end of the season. I don't even care. Because I just feel like if any of those guys get hurt, Lockett or Metcalf, he's going to have a significant bump in opportunity. I'm holding JSN at all costs. I just think he can't take off because, again, there's just roadblocks ahead of him. Ken Walker, Lockett, Metcalf. One injury, whether it's a running back or a receiver, he'll have a much bigger role.
Cook should be treated just like Ezekiel Elliott at this point, so you can drop him and you can drop Kareem Hunt. Yeah, holding JSN, holding Jalen Warren.
Mm-hmm.
What does Jamie say? I don't. My brain's going slow today. Like, where is he going with this? I'll give you 67 camp. What is he referencing? What
I have no idea. I don't know.
I'll give you 66 cents for your dollar. What are you saying, Jamie? Okay, we don't understand. My brain's working slow. You got to explain stuff to me today, Jamie. I need another cup of coffee, but it's 10:30 at night where I'm at. It's 12:30 where Justin is, and I'll be up the entire night. So we'll wait on some clarification, Jamie. Moving on here. Rick from the University of Ohio asks, trade question. Dameon Pierce is eating a hole in my lineup. What receivers are worthy of a fair swap for him? I know I won't hit a home run, but at least somebody with more weekly upside. What's your thoughts?
Calvin Ridley. Is that a good answer? Do you think that's a fair trade?
No, I don't think anybody is going to take Dameon Pierce for Calvin Ridley. No way. The Calvin Ridley owner was too bought in going into the season to be deterred by a bad few weeks, I think.
I guess. I mean, his ADP was higher than Christian Kirk, so I mean, you had to take a stand.
I think you did. It got high. It got high. There was he was going in the second round of underdog drafts.
They want a receiver. They want a receiver.
Is that what he said? What receivers are worthy of a fair swap for him? Yes.
Okay. Nico Collins, same team.
That's no
same
way.
Team swap.
No way. Come on.
I don't know.
Give him something that's going to get done.
I'm gonna give me something here. Throw me a lifeboat.
These open-ended questions are always really tough when they don't give you something specific. So what always helps me is I go over to the Fantasy Pros like rankings really quick. And yeah, we'll just go down the list here. I'll probably pop over to probably the wide receiver 30 to 40 range here. And then I'm just going to go down here and we'll see what we can find here. All right. So we're looking at what I'm trying to, I'm already a wide receiver like 38 before I think you're even getting into players that you're going to consider.
Throw me some names.
Would you prefer Jordan Addison or Dameon Pierce?
Dameon Pierce, just out of the position utility.
Yeah, see, you know me, I'm a running back guy, and I would still probably take Jordan Addison there. I
still think that Pierce is going to have a good finish to the season, and that's why I think those other guys were worthy of a swap. But what else you got? So no to Jordan Addison.
Oh, okay. Jamie's talking trades, breaking down dollar, trades into $1 and everything like that. You're talking crazy, Jamie. Okay. We love you though.
I'll buy that for $1. RoboCop? Anyone? No? All right.
It's been a while. Since I've seen that one.
It's been a while.
What happened? Did your ball drop off?
You were waiting to use that. I think that's like the cutoff for me. Like wide receiver 38, and I'm looking at Jordan Addison. And then after that is when I want Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce over Cortland Sutton. Dameon Pierce over Jackson Smith and Jigba. Dameon Pierce over Brooks.
Cortland Sutton's been a touchdown machine, pal.
He's been good these recent weeks. Marvin Mims still leads the Denver Broncos in receiving yards despite running like 30 routes.
Well, he's awesome. He's awesome.
I know.
Didn't he also return a touchdown? Didn't he also return a kick for a touchdown?
Did he? He might have.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, Marvin Mims is awesome.
You need to get him the ball more.
But Cortland Sutton keeps scoring touchdowns. I don't get it.
Cortland Sutton, he's a big target. It makes sense to me. I'm just still waiting for my Jerry Jeudy breakout. Like I'm just putting the clown, starting Jerry Jeudy, telling everybody start Jerry Jeudy every week, putting on the clown makeup. You know what I mean? Just like same thing, starting Kyle Pitts and Jerry Jeudy every week.
Beautiful. No, that's the starting Kyle Pitts still, yeah. Or starting Hunter Henry over him. I think didn't you ask that this week on Twitter?
I was saying putting Kyle Pitts in my lineups over Hunter Henry this week, and I did like the clown putting face on his mask crying. You know what I mean? That's me because
exactly.
I'm just glutting for punishment. Like I just like the pain. I just want to be. I'm just gonna go down with the ship, I guess. Like I tweeted also. I had to look up the name. Gosh darn it! It's not gonna deliver as well. I looked up. Have you seen Perfect Storm? I was like, I'm George Clooney, and I found the name of the ship on Perfect Storm, and this is my something Gale. I was like, I'm going down with Kyle Pitts. I'm far too invested, so I think that I better just go down with the ship at this point.
I was thinking more of that song. Do you want to hurt me?
That's Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
I was happy to see him get pounded this morning. It's like, oh, so all these people like, oh, he wins football games. Great. He's going to beat bottom. He's going to beat the bottom 10 teams in the NFL with that kind of style of football. And it's not competitive. This is not how you win in today's NFL. You're never, ever going to even be on the same stratosphere as any of the better teams in football playing this kind of scheme where you're completely phasing out Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, freaking Jonnu Smith getting stained. I mean, it's silly. What? It's silly. Yeah, Jamie, I want to cry too, Jamie. It's silly what Arthur Smith is doing. He's cratering the fantasy value. Oh my God, it makes me sick. Okay, but this is the waiver wire show, so we'll save that for a little bit later on in the week. Moving on, getting down to our last few questions here. Can I drop? Cheering rivalry heights from Reddit asked, can I drop Roschon for Mclaughlin? A lot of hype from everyone on Row, but the numbers ain't there. Oh, Jamie, it doesn't seem risky. Am I missing something, or is this an easy move? Jamie, type up your retort in the chat. Justin, what are you doing there?
That sounds like you're filling a bench position. I mean, are you starting Roschon in many leagues?
No. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, you're swapping a bench spot, so as long as this isn't Dynasty, I'm okay with it. I mean, Jamie says no.
Oh,
I mean,
God, Jamie, I was afraid of this before the season.
I don't know what to expect from the Bears going forward. Again, they just lost to the team that had 70 points scored on them last week, and we lost. We were up 28-0, 28-7. Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't know.
Jamie, you can't keep starting Roschon Johnson.
I'm starting him in every league.
Cannot do Jamie. Stop starting Roschon Johnson. Stop it.
Bold
Jamie.
move.
I know you're Jamie, but you have to stop. I love Roschon Johnson, but what I thought before the season was coming a little bit to fruition is that every fantasy analyst loved Roschon Johnson. It caused
they still do.
It caused him to be a little overdrafted, especially with Khalil Herbert being the incumbent. Khalil Herbert had a strong week this week too. It's just we're far from the point where Roschon Johnson is going to be the focal point in a bad offense where he's going to be able to be fantasy relevant, regular fantasy starter. I think it's tough.
How many games is Roschon going to have over 120 all-purpose yards this season? How many games? None. Zero. So again, like, I'm not saying Mclaughlin's going to. I think Mclaughlin had at least 100, but Khalil Herbert, he had 103 yards rushing, 19 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown. It just seems like he's still the preferred guy. And like, believe me, as a Bears fan, I want Rowe to be a thing. I want Roschon to happen.
It is coming. It's coming, but it might be 2024.
Lord, I pray, Sir Jamie. I just can't see like the downside though. Like this guy is saying, like, I don't think it's risky. But again, a couple weeks go by, maybe Roschon's a lot better than you think he is. And this Mclaughlin dude is, just a flash in the pan. I don't know. These are two really kind of bottom feeding options still right now. Mclaughlin at best is like a flex option, I have no idea who Denver is playing next week, to be fair. So,
I'm not firing up either, but yeah, I'm going to keep Roschon for the time being. I do love the talent, Jamie. I think he's going to get there. But like Aaron Jones, he might have to sit for a year. There's some guys, they come on a little bit slower at the running back position. So love the talent, love the player, does all the things right, but stop starting Roschon Johnson in your fantasy football lineups, Jamie, for God's sake. Moving on. Sam Fuentes from Facebook asked, what players did you hit and miss on so far this season? I especially want to hear the misses. Oh, boy. Go ahead, Justin. You want to take this one to start off with?
I've missed on Deontay Johnson.
That doesn't count. We won't include our injury ones. Okay, that's not fair.
Okay. Well, then I'll say that I hit on David Montgomery despite him missing a week. 3 touchdowns this week, at least a touchdown in the first 2 games. So I'll take that as a win. I'll take Derek Carr as a loss. He's not hurt yet. Maybe he is now. But he is one of my most exposed players in best ball this year, just based on his price. Trying to think of another miss. Deontay Johnson's really hurting me. I'm just saying, like, it's not a good situation. So I mean, it's a bad pick. I drafted him a lot. So. Gosh. Aaron Rodgers, again, that's an injury, but I drafted a lot of Aaron Rodgers, especially in best ball. So, like, to me, I do look at those as misses. Like, I drafted too much of somebody, that did get hurt. And Najee Harris, he hasn't gotten hurt, and he's playing not very good. He played better today.
That's where I was headed. That was my first one. I was actually I know they had there was a lot of fantasy analysts against Najee Harris this year, and I was actually pushing back on that. I thought Najee Harris didn't get a fair rap the first couple of years. I still don't think he is. I think this offensive line is still bad. The offensive situation is terrible. The play calling's bad. Everything's bad. So I still don't think he's necessarily getting a fair shake. And he's not an explosive athlete. And so he's behind a bad offensive line, it's just, it's going to be tough for him. Jaylen Warren might be actually better for this situation because he's a little more explosive. He can make something happen behind this bad offensive line. So I think Najee Harris in the right situation can be a good NFL running back, but Pittsburgh is certainly not the case. A hit that I really loved. I was so on Kenneth Walker this year. I was so on Kenneth Walker this year. I thought
really good. Really good player though. I just feel like people were fading him because of Charbonnet. I don't think it was ever about Walker.
Such a joke. I was just like, this. Are you kidding me here? We saw this. What happened last year? The best rusher in college football just a couple years ago. Oh, Zach Charbonnet catching screen passes at UCLA was going to come in and take all this work from Kenneth Walker. Please. It's not even close. Zach Charbonnet did in week 3 did finally run more routes than Kenneth Walker, but Kenneth Walker's still running a day. It's still pretty even. So Kenneth Walker caught 3 passes for over 50 yards last week. I was told by fantasy analysts on Twitter that wasn't physically possible. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. You railed me back in here. You pulling me back in from my Kenneth Walker rant, Justin.
No, I was trying to tell Dr. Clutch to bring his question.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely, man. Bring that question on, brother. I thought you were trying to rail me in. I thought I can go on Kenneth Walker tangents for hours. So yes, I was a big hit on that. One other big miss that I was definitely fading Calvin Ridley. That was a big one. I thought I was going to look really stupid after week 1, but that was one I felt pretty good on. Mike Evans is one sitting back there. I didn't hate Mike Evans. I was actually drafting Mike Evans at his ADP, but not nearly enough. Now looking back, it's just like Evans was such a discount.
I actually both him and Godwin were, especially in best ball. So I was always getting at least one of them. Very few times did I draft them together. It wasn't a situation where I wanted CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. That's obviously not working out amazing, the Cooks side of things. But you know what I mean? When you're stacking some of these offenses, I never did that with those two, but I always made sure to leave with at least one of them because both of them were completely underpriced. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I was on him at that wide receiver 30, but like I said, wish I would have drafted him even a bit more.
I'll take another loss with Juju Smith-Schuster. He's playing like dog shit, just absolute dog poo. I drafted a fair amount of him. He's in my top 3 for most exposed receivers. And again, it really just came down to the price. He had that perception of being a number 1 guy in that offense. He's not. I don't know if there anyone that is, if it's Kendrick Bourne, if it's Hunter Henry, if it's Devontae Parker. I just think it's whoever's in the good graces of the Lord and his kingdom, Bill Belichick. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Juju Smith is, in my opinion, still a much better talent than some of these other guys receiver wise, but it's not working. So I'm gonna take a hurt in there, it looks like. But I like I said when we started this episode, I had a very good week 4. I doubled my advance rate this week, at least so far. We still have one more game left, but I went from I think 14 advance hits to 28. So feeling pretty good. Even if that deviates down to 25 or 26, I'll feel pretty good after this week.
Man, looking up here, I was way too on Trey McBride. That was a bad one.
Oh, same here, but I'm not really that worried about it.
It was the last pick. It was the last one.
Yeah, every time. But I still think that there's a reality where Zach Ertz is on his way out the door. I just can't see why at his age and his scope and skill and really just where he sits amongst tight ends in the league, he is being completely misused and mishandled by the Cardinals. I mean, they're getting him some love and some touches, but I just mean he's rotting away there, I should say. There's so much, so many better situations he could be in with another team that's winning, that's making a playoff run. I really hope that he gets sold at the deadline. Trey McBride for me was always a stash for down the stretch of the season where he should have this team and that tight end target share to himself on a team that has been thrown to the tight end quite a bit.
We'll do this listener question, and we'll tackle one more waiver wire question. Justin does have a family. It's about 1 a.m. where he's at, so we got to let him go to bed here at some point for his job tomorrow. 1 and 3 so far, Dr. Church says. Fields, Bijan, Pollard, Mostert, Pierce, Javonte Williams, Charbonnet, Higgins, Pickens, D-Hop, Dotson, Addison. Elijah Moore, Laporta is my roster. No real wide receiver 1 or real wide receiver 2. So you're looking for some advice, huh? Okay. Looking it over.
Go ahead. I mean, I just think that he has some guys he can move at running back for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you have a lot of running backs. It's just who are you going to sell hot at this point? Raheem Mostert. We were wrong last week. It was Devon Achane this week, or Achane, I guess is the new pronunciation.
No. We were not wrong. No. Don't throw me into that.
Did you say?
Don't
were
throw me into that. You said to spend everything on Mostert, sir. You said spend everything on Mostert.
I said spend everything on Achane too. I said spend like 70 or 80%.
The question last week was Achane or Mostert because somehow they were available in someone's like same league. And you said Mostert. You got to spend it all on Mostert. You got to spend it all on Mostert.
I was wrong.
I will say this. Achane was a sit candidate for me this week. I will say that. And that was just because I didn't think he could do it again. He had like 4 carries for 18 yards and 2 touchdowns to start the game. I mean, that's pretty nice. That's a good situation to fall into. Again, I don't know if I can expect it to happen again, but I would still, in this situation, want to sell Mostert.
If you can, like I said, I'd like to sell people coming off big weeks. I think Mostert's coming off a bad week. I don't know how much value he's going to have. Javonte is too. Charbonnet, Higgins, all these guys.
Javonte's hurt.
Yeah,
Javonte's not in the conversation. So I think you got to move maybe Mostert and D-Hop to maybe get a decent wide receiver 2. I think if you want to get a wide receiver 1, you've got to pull in Mostert and maybe D-Hop.
Yeah.
Is that possible? And then considering like a 1, like is that 1 like an Amari Cooper? And is the 2?
You got to give something sexy. You got to include like Jordan Addison with like Mostert, like maybe like try to like give somebody like an up and comer, somebody like an attractive name somebody's going to want. Can't like giving up 2 guys coming off like some subpar performances like D-Hop and Mostert. I mean, people won't be excited to take that trade. So offer up somebody like Addison and Mostert and see if somebody will give you like a low end wide receiver 2 for them, potentially. Man, Jamie is really on you shaving your head, man. Jamie wants you to shave your head. Yeah, he is referring you as the head shave dude.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'll be okay. I'll be okay with it. I can handle it. I'm a grown ass man. All right. I can shave my head. It's going to grow back fast. I'll be good. But I'm not going to be the one that's shaving my head. That's the thing.
Oh, Jamie is hyped about this. I'm getting less and less excited, but I'm glad Jamie's still confident in my side. Doctor saying I got offered Najee and DJ Moore for Pollard. Yeah, that's a decline. I think I think they're both these. They could be decent buy lows, both those players, but I still prefer Pollard.
If you could do that for Mostert and somebody, I think that's what I would want to do. Like I would want to do like Mostert and D-Hop for Najee and DJ Moore, and I feel good about that.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that, but like I said, you got to wait for Mostert to have a big week again. Maybe it'll come next week.
Well, if you've got that person on the line for that trade, that's how I would respond back. That would be my counter offer, and see what you can build on from there.
We'll go on to our last question here. Just trying to find a good one. All right, I got it. This won't be a waiver wire one, but Michael does Melbourne from Rhoda asks, "Is it time to sell Trevor Lawrence? Convince me otherwise." Go ahead, Justin.
I'd say so if you can get someone that wants to buy him. I mean, I don't want to sell him in Dynasty. I still think that there's better days for this offense ahead, but I mean, yeah, if he's hurting your lineups, if he's putting you at risk, make a move. I mean, we've been talking about CJ Stroud. If he's somehow available in your league, he's definitely someone you want to target, spend some fob on. I mean, I'm not trying to run after Baker Mayfield this week. Again, I think he's, kind of a boomer bust candidate, but typically in most like single quarterback leagues, like you can play the waiver wire. Like, again, I'm not telling you to replace him with Aiden O'Connell by any instance, but I do think that there's probably a move that you can make. And typically, again, in a single QB league, if there's a team that has an extra guy or has 2 extra guys, if they somehow drafted or are holding 3 quarterbacks, you probably wouldn't have to spend much to get one. A bench player probably does get a trade done if you have some extra depth. So I would just look to maybe, move him and upgrade someone that you're a little bit higher on. Again, you're not looking to go after, Bryce Young or Sam Howell right now, or Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke, whoever is going to be the quarterback of the Falcons. You want to try and find some level of upgrade. So again, if you can move him plus a bench piece for someone that you feel is better, I'm good with it for sure.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, he's had a slightly difficult season so far, but I think a lot of quarterbacks have. The defenses have stepped up this year. They're playing only to the pass now, especially if you have a halfway decent quarterback. Mm-hmm. They're gonna every smart defense is, we'll let you run the football. We're gonna rush 4 people and we're gonna drop everybody else back. We're gonna make you check down and make that correct throw 10 times in a row, is what the defenses are doing now.
I also firmly believe that the position is just less talented. I don't think it's a very deep position talent-wise. I think you have your top guys. I think you have some middle ground players that are, like they're NFL quarterbacks. And I do feel like there are some QBs in this league that are just there because, we need QBs.
It doesn't feel like, it feels like just a few years ago that was not the case.
A few years ago we still had Tom Brady in the league.
Well, I mean, like if you just looked at the young talent, just included that, people would have said you had Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Tua, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Sean Watson.
Andrew Luck should still be playing pro football. I mean, by all means, it's your right, it's your choice. But at his age and his, the length that he should play, he should still be in the NFL. It's just. Yeah, it's just weird to me how, like when Marcus Mariota had a starting job last year, I think that highlights a lack of talent just around the league. You know what I mean? The situation with Arizona, like, I get it. Like, you don't want to hire Carson Wentz. He killed an endangered animal. I get it. And then posted about it on Twitter. But man, like, I just feel like, Carson Wentz could join any team and he'd put up stats. He probably wouldn't win games, but I feel like there's a lot of teams that aren't trying to win games right now. I don't know. It's a weird deal.
Problem with Carson Wentz is everybody hates Carson Wentz. Every team he's ever been,
he doesn't win games.
Carson Wentz. No, but they just hate his personality. Even literally hate him.
Oh yeah, he was like an anti-COVID vaxxer type of guy. Yeah, he was like really weird about the protocols and stuff.
Washington, Indianapolis, Philadelphia, every place, by the time he left, the coaches, the players, they didn't like him. And that's probably has to do with why he doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
Jamie.
I mean, I can count 4 AFC teams: the Patriots, the Titans, the Jets, and the Steelers. They don't have a quarterback. Like, their quarterbacks are backup quarterbacks.
Yeah. I think that's the nature. And I did tweet today that there's never, of course, Patrick Mahomes didn't back me up, but I did tweet today that I don't think there's ever been a bigger gap between the best quarterback in the NFL and the second best quarterback.
Yeah.
I can't think of
in the NFC, the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, the Falcons. I mean, say what you want about Bryce Young. He's an amazing prospect, sure, but he's not it. Like, he lost them that game today. In a game that they should have won. That was really ridiculous. The Vikings got really lucky in that one. Man, I don't want to say the Bears, but Justin Fields and the Bears have lost a historic, I think it's like 12 or 13 plus games in a row now. I'm lost with words. Jamie, yeah, he's right. They are lost without a QB, and I don't think they've ever had one, since Baker Mayfield left. So that's what I got to say about that.
Sean Watson, I think clearly,
he looks raw as hell. Come on now. Don't sugarcoat it.
What I think has to do with it, I think that he doesn't take hits very well anymore. And that could have something to do with not playing for 2 years.
I think he can't throw the ball very well anymore. Like, he threw a ball dead into a defender's chest with no one running through the middle of the two. Like, I don't think he throws the ball very good anymore.
I think some of it has to do with, like I said, he's very scared to get hit. He does not, he's not taking the hits, I don't think, very well. He does not do it. He used to evade pressure very well, and he doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah. he could get the ball down the field, no problem. Like right now, he can drive the ball down the field. The arm is still there. The nuance, the accuracy, the efficiency, like you're talking about, the not being able to take a hit. And I just think overall, like his footwork, unless it's not completely designed for him, he's not improving well. I really feel he was not looking good before this whatever injury. I don't even know why he missed this week. I just knew I had to take him out of one of my lineups. I think I overstacked the Browns in Scott Fishbowl.
Well, the good news is the Browns could cut Deshaun Watson next season, and he would only take up 85% of their salary cap next season for the dead cap.
They could cut him? Oh my God, dude. What are you talking about?
I'm just joking. It was a joke. Did you hear me? I said that for 80% of their salary cap next season.
Wow. Holy.
Yeah. No, it's literally impossible to cut him until 2027. You can't. It's like impossible. You can't. It's, they'd have to be like a great settlement. You know what I mean? So
I'm going easy on some of these other NFC QBs too. I mean, Dan Jones, don't get me wrong, like decent fantasy player, but the guy to win you games, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. And Geno Smith, he's kind of a flash in the pan still. Like he's got last year and some average performances this year so far. So I think the jury's still out on him. I mean,
I tend to
Jordan
agree.
Love, same thing. Like we don't know what he is yet.
Yeah, lots of guys who you question whether they can ever compete with the upper echelon quarterbacks in the NFL. But like I said, a lot of the top quarterbacks aren't playing very well this year. It's been a little bit of a different year. Even Tua, who the clear MVP frontrunner before this week, had a down game.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears suck. Fields looked elite today from Dr. Clutch.
That's the thing. I'm on a show with Pat Callahan out of Philadelphia with Jacob Sports on Thursdays. I do like a little fantasy segment with them. And he was asking me about like when do we get to consider like Fields is just, a mistake. Like he's just not going to be the guy. And honestly, like today, he still showed why he is he showed why he can be the guy. He's done it. He doesn't play defense, man. This is like an epically terrible defense out of the Chicago Bears. Like the ownership and the team and the front office should be embarrassed of themselves. This team and their culture is built on the backbone of having a good defense at all times. That has been who we are since I've been alive, since I was born in 89 and I woke up my eyes like the first time and I looked up and I said, "What's that?" Oh, that's an 85 Bears poster. Okay. Since the dawn of my time, the Bears have always been good at defense no matter what. Even when we've been dog shit, we've always had dogs on the defensive side of the ball. We don't have that right now. So no matter what Fields does, he didn't necessarily blow a lead. He didn't win them the game. He did not win them the game. He was in a situation to win them the game. He didn't do it. So yeah, maybe he's not that guy, but you know what? There's a lot of guys in this league that have gotten far in the league without being that guy. Jimmy Garoppolo has been to a Super Bowl not being that guy. You know what I mean? The system's not right for him. The coaching's not right for him. It's a terrible scenario.
Hey, if the first defense you have for a player, though, is that you didn't give him a good defense, I mean, come on. Yeah, it's Fields. The problem is he's capable of delivering this performance, but the Broncos are a terrible defense. They had given up scoring. Before this week, I haven't looked at the adjusted stats. Before this week, they were giving up scores on 56% of their possessions. Now that's the league average is 36%.
Coming into this week, the Bears and the Broncos allowed the most points in the NFL, right? So obviously, of course, the Broncos, they let up 70. Of course, they're going to be in last. But the team right ahead of them was the Chicago Bears, who also got shit-hossed by the Kansas City Chiefs last week. And now it happened again. So what, the Chiefs scored 35 plus, 40 plus last week, right?
Yeah.
And now this week again, 31? Like, come on. It's just as bad as the Broncos, if not worse. Like, I don't expect Russell Wilson to do anything. Like, Russell Wilson's going to be gone. Fields might be gone. But again, like, okay, cool. So we draft in, hopefully a great class of QBs next year, and the position elevates itself. But I mean, I just don't know how much better you're going to get than a guy throwing 4 touchdowns for you. Like, I'm sorry, he has to throw 5.
Fields literally is at the point where he has to win to keep his job, because if the Bears draft in the top 5, it's over. They're going to draft Yeah, I mean, it's a lock almost essentially. Like it's going to take a miracle not to draft in the top 5. And
they have the first 2 picks right now. They have number pick and number 2.
Who's your other first round pick again? Arizona? No. Houston? Who is it?
I'm not sure. I know that we have the first and second pick right now.
Who'd you trade with? Is it Carolina? Did you trade with Carolina? Did you give up the first pick for? I think you have I think you have Carolina's first round pick because you got it when they moved up to get Bryce Young, right? That makes sense.
When they gave us DJ Moore, yeah.
Yeah, and they moved up. They gave you DJ Moore and I think the first round pick next season.
Right.
I have to go double check on all this, but regardless, yes. So it's almost a lock. Chicago take in the top 5, and at that point, yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you, Jamie. Panthers, yes. So. Yeah, it's a lock. You're going to be drafting in the top 5, and then it's irresponsible not to take a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, especially if it's Caleb Williams. So at that point, Justin Fields is looking for a new team. Yeah, I mean,
if I'm him, I would be doing that for sure. There's a lot of other teams in this league that he would be a better player on, and the team would win games. We don't have it right now. Coaching staff, ownership, management, like it is an absolute pile of dog shit.
The Atlanta Falcons are like a team I could think of that one, but like I think a team ready to win is not going to want Justin Fields. They're going to want a real passing quarterback, somebody who's shown themselves a little more in this league. Like I said, I could see him on the Atlanta Falcons next season. I don't know if that's good. So
no, it'll probably be Taylor Heineke starting for them at this point. Like Desmond Ritter's not going to last. Bailey Zappi filled in for Mac Jones today. You could throw them on the list.
Yeah, he might. Mac Jones might not even start next week.
Go back on our YouTube channel. There's a short about Mac Jones. I told you to take all the unders. I said this team would be 0-5. They do have a 1 win.
Don't you love Zapp? Didn't you? Yeah, it's your week. You love Zapp.
I did.
You love Zapp.
I did. I love Zappy. It's not that I love Zappy. It's more of just a discredit to Mac Jones. That's what it is. It's not that I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's going to take over the NFL. Bailey Zappi's the next Tom Brady. No, it's not that. It's that Mac Jones is dog shit. He's trash. And I said they would be 0-5. They beat the Jets with Zach Wilson. That should have been Aaron Rodgers. That should have been a loss. They just didn't have the schedule for it. I think they might have a game up against the Saints coming up. That might be winnable if Jameis is in or Carr's in. I mean, oh my God, they look terrible. So yeah, maybe that's an opportunity. But I think by the bye, which was week 10, I said, yeah, I mean, if it hasn't happened by then, after the bye, it's Zappy, no problem. But Christmas came early, as they say.
All right. I cannot, in due conscience, let you go any further, knowing you got a fam, you got work tomorrow. So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Jamie, today. Dr. Clutch. Who else came into today? Smokey the Cat. Everybody, we really appreciate you checking in the live chat. George Play. It really means a lot to us. Hit that like, subscribe button if you haven't already. Like Jamie said, we really appreciate you all. Have a great night. Feel free to ask us any other waiver wire questions on our Twitter handles. And you all have a fantastic rest of your evening. Take it easy, everybody, and good luck on the waivers this week.